Lockheed Martin just unveiled a brand new undersea drone called Lamprey that can loiter on the seabed, hitch a ride on other ships and subs, then peel off to launch torpedoes, deploy decoys, and even pop small UAVs into the air. And the timing is not an accident. The undersea fight is getting more attention, with more countries building more subs and other systems meant to prowl the depths. So today we're going to break down what Lamprey is, what it can actually do based on what's public, how it fits into what the Navy says it needs, and why it all points to a bigger trend. The ocean floor is becoming a battlefield, not just an empty void where submarines go to be mysterious. Lockheed calls Lamprey a multi-mission autonomous undersea vehicle, or MMAUV. The company is pitching it as a plug-and-play platform built around two big missions: assured access and sea denial. In normal English, that means it can sneak into places, watch things, and potentially strike targets. When it isn't doing that, it can make the enemy's life harder by disrupting sensors, creating false contacts, and threatening movement through an area. The big feature Lockheed is leaning on is the hitchhiker concept. The Lamprey, named after the lamprey fish, which is an ancient creature without jaws that latches onto its prey and your nightmares, is supposed to stick itself to a host surface ship or a submarine with no host modifications. While it's there, it can recharge its batteries using hydro generators that appear to be turbines that deploy on the side, and then it can arrive in theater ready to work. Underwater drones are almost always limited by power. Batteries don't like cold water, pressure, and time, and even when the battery is decent, you still face a basic problem. If your underwater drone has to drive itself 500 miles to do its job, it might spend most of its energy commuting. Lamprey also comes with a reported 24 cubic feet of internal payload space. That is about the equivalent of 5 standard issue duffel bags. Lockheed's official list of what Lamprey can do with this space is pretty broad. They say it can deliver undersea and flying drones that can perform intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, targeting, signal spoofing to create a decoy, and deploy equipment to the seafloor. They also describe it as a platform that detects, disrupts, decoys, and engages on its own. Let's translate that into a few concrete mission types. One role is persistent undersea surveillance. Think of an area where you want to know what's moving through, but you don't want to risk a manned submarine sitting there for days. A drone that can quietly loiter, listen, and pass information back to the fleet gives commanders more eyes and ears without burning a precious sub. Lockheed also keeps using the phrase seabed warfare, which sounds dramatic, but it's basically about operating on or near the ocean floor. That could mean deploying sensors and placing devices, or just using the seabed as cover while you wait. The deploying equipment to the seafloor phrase is probably one of the more interesting, but what this could be is really anybody's guess. It likely includes persistent sensors, communications relays, navigation aids, decoys, or even something like a docking station for other UUVs. A second role is sea denial. Lockheed explicitly mentions electronic disruption and decoy equipment plus kinetic attack. Imagine that you are a ship trying to protect yourself from submarines. Just imagine that you're a cool ship because this is your little fantasy, so don't sell yourself short. Your world is already full of false positives in your hunt for sneaky subs. Add more decoys and noise, and you either waste time chasing ghosts or you start ignoring contacts and hope that you're right, neither of which are really great options. The other big capability is that it is a UUV that can launch UAVs, which honestly is probably the most oh wow look at that aspect of all of this. Lamprey can be equipped with optional launch tubes to fire short-range surveillance or strike UAVs. In practical terms, this could give the fleet a way to put a small eye in the sky without bringing a ship or manned aircraft close to the area. If you're operating near a coastline or near an enemy sensor network, being able to pop a drone into the air from a low-profile platform gives you options. Fun fact, Lockheed Martin first launched a UUV from a UAV back in 2016, so this isn't really new tech, but it is a great example of how long some of these systems can take to develop and refine into something that is truly useful. The company also shows the UUV launching small torpedoes at enemy vessels, and don't forget that it can attach itself to ships, so I'm sure somebody could get really creative with that. So why is the Navy interested in stuff like this at all? Because the Navy has a capacity problem in the undersea domain. Submarines are one of the most in-demand platforms around the world right now. North Korea, South Korea, Australia, the UK, France, China. Everybody who is anybody really wants more subs. The main problem is that they're expensive and time-consuming to build and maintain. You can't just decide to have more submarines next year. Right now, the US can't really even keep up with its own demand, let alone demand from other countries that they've agreed to sell submarines to. So while the subfleet may not be growing quickly, the missions that require them sure as hell are. The Navy and Marine Corps have been pretty explicit that they want unmanned systems to help execute distributed maritime operations. Basically, they just want to spread capability and sensors across a wider area so the fleet is harder to target and can cover more ocean. That idea makes a lot of sense above water, and it's a little easier to pull off there. But underwater, it's even more attractive because the undersea environment is still one of the best places to hide. But it's also one of the hardest places to communicate, navigate, and sustain a robot for long periods. Lamprey's big draw right now is that it helps solve the hardest parts of that problem. It's designed to get into theater efficiently, stay low profile, and provide flexible effects like surveillance, decoys, and potentially weapons, without pulling a manned submarine off of higher priority missions. Boiled down to pretty simple terms, Lamprey is trying to let the Navy spread the equivalent of caltrops and tripwires all over the oceans to make it that much more difficult for our enemies to do what they want to do. When people talk about undersea warfare, most of us picture the Cold War, nuclear submarines hunting each other in the deep, and everybody being very quiet and very stressed, and maybe even Sean Connery is there with the Scottish brogue on a Soviet submarine for some reason.
I present you the ballistic missile submarine Red October.
Sneaking around in nuclear subs is still very much a part of undersea warfare. But there is a new layer that's getting more attention, the seabed itself, and the infrastructure on it. Cables on the ocean floor carry massive amounts of communications and data. Chances are that if you're watching this from somewhere like Australia or Europe or really anywhere that's not North America, this information is being carried to you via an undersea cable. Undersea power cables help connect countries, pipelines carry energy, and all of it is hard to protect in real time because it's underwater and spread across huge distances. To answer this, NATO stood up Baltic Sentry after repeated concerns about damage to undersea infrastructure in the Baltic Sea. It has said that this effort includes more presence and the integration of new technologies, including naval drones, to help monitor and protect critical undersea infrastructure. That is not a small hint about where allied navies think the threat is trending. If an adversary can cut off an undersea pipeline or an undersea cable, they can basically starve out or just cut off communications to large areas of the world, something that's not really that great if you're trying to coordinate attacks, responses to attacks, or anything really. The European Union even proposed a Black Sea maritime security hub with space-to-seabed monitoring. That would include underwater sensors and surveillance drones explicitly tied to concerns about undersea infrastructure and regional threats. Space-to-seabed is not the phrase you use when you think the ocean floor is irrelevant. There is also a growing concern about China building out what is being commonly referred to as the Great Undersea Wall of China, made up of sensors, UUVs, and other systems meant to deny access and keep an eye on all sorts of our ships, subs, and everything else. So this is the environment that Lamprey and other UUVs are being designed around. They're being made with a world where you want more sensors, more persistence, and more options to respond in mind, where you may not always want to send the same handful of high-end ships and submarines. But the Lamprey is not designed to operate alone necessarily, and it makes more sense when you put it next to the other big undersea robotics efforts. On one end, you've got the kind of go-it-alone endurance concept, and the clearest example of that is DARPA and Northrop Grumman's Manta Ray UUV. DARPA describes Manta Ray as a program to demonstrate technologies for a new class of long-duration, long-range, payload-capable UUVs that can operate for extended durations without human-present logistics or maintenance. In other words, it is a robot sub that can be deployed forward and keep working without needing a friendly port or a manned host nearby. DARPA's program description explicitly talks about novel energy management, undersea energy harvesting, low power propulsion, long duration mission management, and even dealing with things like biofouling and corrosion over time. All that indicates that they plan for this to stay alone and unafraid in some of the most inhospitable environments for a long time. Then you've got large Navy-focused UUVs like Boeing's Orca XLUUV. The company says Orca has up to around 6,500 nautical miles of range and is being designed for long-duration missions with significant payload capacity. This is like the big truck of the UUV world. Right now it is undergoing testing, but there is some indication that the Pentagon may want to cancel it or redirect it into another program. And of course, you have the torpedo tube UUVs. That seems simple, it's just launching a drone out of a submarine's torpedo tube, but it has been notoriously hard to get right as a stable, scalable program. In this category, the Snakehead Large Displacement UUV has been canceled and brought back amid funding fights and doubts that it really adds much. And in July of 2025, the Navy terminated the Mark 20 version of the Razorback torpedo tube launched and recovered UUV. These and others are currently being tested, but we aren't quite at full operational readiness yet, except for things like the Knife Fish, which is a counter-mine UUV that's already being employed. Now we should talk about what could make Lamprey a useful capability or leave it as just an impressive idea that never really becomes a fleet staple. One major drawback to UUVs is that they operate underwater. That sounds weird, but underwater communications are hard. Radio waves do not travel well through seawater, which is why submarines have to do weird things like trail antennas, come closer to the surface, or use specialized frequencies that have limited bandwidth. This makes autonomy underwater all but necessary, but that is difficult to build because the ocean is so diverse and conditions change so often. This is what makes submarines with a human crew so valuable, because you have humans on board with brains that can make decisions on the go with limited information. We can generally trust that a sub-captain isn't going to go rogue and start launching missiles at fishing boats or something just because they parked over top of them and it was perceived as a threat. Despite what we say about robots, we still contend that humans are one of the most powerful computers on a battlefield because they can take so many different inputs, literally just thousands and millions of different inputs all at once, and then come out with a decision that may not be great, but generally isn't horrible. So when Lockheed says Lamprey engages on its own, we should take a closer look at what that might mean. The most obvious question is what on its own means in practice. Is it autonomous engagement and sensing, or can it deploy weapons without humans in the loop and make its own engagement decisions? Or do you have to pre-program missions into it, which would potentially lock it into one certain role until a new program can be uploaded to it? The last big question around Lamprey becoming a real capability is if the Navy will even buy it. Lockheed says this was entirely self-funded, meaning the Pentagon did not come to them with a big bag of cash in exchange for their work. But at the same time, it is not really a habit of these defense primes to spend a lot of their money and time on things that they don't think the military will want. But right now, naval procurement is kind of all over the place because we're apparently going to be buying battleships, so who knows what will happen. Now here's what we'll be watching for next. 1. Does the Navy pick it up for experimentation in a way that's visible with contracts, exercises, public testing, and anything beyond marketing language? 2. Do we get hard numbers, range, speed, endurance, depth rating, payload mass, how long it can actually loiter, and how it communicates? If those numbers show up, we can stop speaking in vibes and start speaking in reality. 3. Do we see other primes and other navies field similar hitchhiker concepts? Because if this is truly a good idea, it won't stay a Lockheed-only idea for very long. And 4. Do we see this tied explicitly to critical undersea infrastructure problems like cables, seabed sensors, and checkpoints, because that's where a distributed undersea drone network starts to look less like a niche capability and a lot more like a core requirement. The big takeaway with Lamprey is that it's less about one specific vehicle and more about the direction we are heading. The Navy is looking for more undersea presence without proportionally more submarines. Allies are looking for ways to monitor and protect critical infrastructure that sits on the seabed, and everyone is realizing that the ocean isn't just a transit space between continents, it's an environment where you can hide sensors, hide weapons, and quietly shape what the enemy thinks is safe. As always, let us know what you think in the comments, and if I can, push for subscribe and like and all that stuff. I generally don't do it, but hey, leave us a comment, hit that like button, go ahead and subscribe, tell your friends, every little bit helps us out a lot. Alright, now it is channel update time, and once again, I wrote this script and Savvy edited the video, and a reminder that Savvy is a team of people, not just one. Savvy's not a name, it's a name of our post-production house. They do a great job. Really got to throw them all sorts of credit, because videos like this where there's not a lot of B-roll, it's a lot to fill, 15 minutes up or even more with specific B-roll that makes sense and doesn't make us look like idiots up here. So thanks to Savvy for all the hard work on this and all the other videos. My email is kyle.gunn@taskandpurpose.com. You can go ahead and email me there. Questions, comments, concerns, feedback, criticism. It doesn't matter. If you want to say something mean, that's cool too. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I have 3 kids and a wife, and I was a Marine. Whatever feelings I had are long dead. You can't hurt me. So give it your best shot. But generally speaking, people have been really nice. If you need somebody to talk to, I'm also there for that. I can't promise a whole lot. I'm still remote, but we do have access to certain resources because of the companies that we work with through our journalism, using as sources. So if you need something, or you just need to tell someone that life sucks, that's okay too. You can tell me. I totally get it. We've all been there at one point. Veteran, service member, civilian. Life can be hard sometimes. Anyways, I'm Kyle, your friendly ginger producer man. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. You're dismissed. I'll see you next time.